Hello and welcome to class number 34 of this quick revision series for Prelims 2024. For the past few days, we have been discussing important current affairs from science and technology, and we'll continue doing that. But once again, reminding you, in case you have still not hit the subscribe button, please do that right away, and you can now begin with this particular class. The first news that we have is a very interesting, extremely high energy particle that collides into Earth called Amaterasu. This is a Japanese name. It has been named after a Japanese goddess. Researchers have discovered an extremely high energy particle. So in the history of mankind, this is considered the second highest energy particle ever discovered that has collided into Earth. This has apparently come out of nowhere. This has come out of from outside our universe, and it has come and collided with the Earth. This appears to have reached the Earth from an empty part of the universe. As I said, it's named after a Japanese goddess. Again, the name is Amaterasu. It's the second highest energy cosmic ray ever detected by us. The highest one was in 1991, which was called the Oh My God particle. So again, the first one, Oh My God particle, this is also named after a similar version of God. This is the Japanese god Amaterasu. This is the second highest energy particle ever detected. It is considered to hold energy of 40 million times higher than energy produced by the Large Hadron Collider. Large Hadron Collider, as you know, is this particle accelerator that has been built, the most powerful particle accelerator ever built by scientists. The origin of this event is unknown, but it was discovered in 2021. Data is being analyzed from the Telescope Array project in Utah. But as I said, it carries immense energy. This is a part of the cosmic rays. What are cosmic rays? These are high energy charged particles. They move at almost the same speed as the speed of light. They are primarily protons and atomic nuclei and originate from different sources in the universe. They bombard the Earth's atmosphere from outer space, so colliding with the Earth's atmosphere is nothing new for them. It's actually very normal. The term cosmic rays is misleading because they are not rays, but they are just fast moving particles, and that fast moving particle isn't translated or is considered as a ray. Second important news, Einstein probe. This is a mission launched by China. Now usually when you see missions launched by China, they don't give English names, right? They give a local name or a name from their mythology. So this has been named as an Einstein probe because there is some part of it from European Space Agency as well. Majorly a Chinese project, but some part of it has also been collaborated with the European Space Agency. It is actually a satellite mission with the aim of observing transient phenomena in the universe that flicker like the fireworks. So it will study high energy transient variable objects, specifically in the X-ray band. Do remember this, it will focus specifically on the X-ray band and focus on phenomena such as neutron star, mergers, and activity around the black hole. This is an infographic around it. It is led by the Chinese Academy of Science in collaboration with the ESA and the Max Planck Institute for Extraterrestrial Physics. It has been launched on a Chinese rocket called the Long March. The lifetime is expected to be about 3 years. There are two science instruments that will happen here, the Wide Field X-ray Telescope and Follow-up X-ray Telescope. So it's mainly focusing on X-ray signals. It will look into how common the black holes are. Also, it will look into how gravitational waves are produced and when and how does a star explodes. Here are a few of the details. This Einstein probe is shaped like a lotus, pretty heavy, resembles like a full SUV. SUV, those big car sport utility vehicles. Unlike the traditional X-ray telescopes, it is slightly different. This design enables it to observe nearly 1/12 of the sky and identify new sources that are emitting X-rays. So, how do you identify far off stars and other celestial objects? You try and detect the light coming from it in different wavelengths, etc. Radiations are emitted in different wavelengths. Depending upon that, you will actually try and see whether it is a star, whether it is a black hole, so on and so forth. Next, ISRO has been working for a long time on its Gaganyaan project, that is sending Indian astronauts to space on an Indian spacecraft itself. Now an important step has been taken in that regard. the Prime Minister announced the 4 astronauts that will be on the Gaganyaan flight. Gaganyaan will be India's first attempt to send humans into space. As you know, there have been Indians who have gone to space, but they have been on space missions of other countries such as USSR, etc. But this time around, ISRO is planning its own mission called as a Gaganyaan. Gaganyaan is a project that has been delayed consistently because of COVID-19 pandemic and then other projects coming in, but now it seems to go on track. The 4 astronauts here would be Prashant Balakrishnan Nair, Angad Pratap, Ajit Krishnan and Subhanshu Shukla. The project was first ideated in 2007. The idea is to send astronauts to space for a 3-day mission. They will go up to an altitude of about 400 kilometers from the Earth's surface and then they will safely come back. That is the entire idea. The mission will use India's heaviest rocket that is capable of sending this, called the Launch Vehicle Mark III, or earlier known as a GSLV Mark III. It will also have escape modules just in case something goes wrong. It should have an alternate for the astronauts to actually come out. First mission will be an unmanned mission. Obviously, you can't take a chance by sending astronauts for the first time by itself. So first, an unmanned mission will be sent, most probably by the end of 2024. Once it is successful, all the details are chalked out. Follow-up mission will be a manned mission. It will be a 3-member crew up to about 400 kilometers on the low Earth orbit for 3 days. ISRO has been trying to develop a lot of modules, including life support system, emergency escape provision, crew management, training, etc. These astronauts are being trained at different places. Most of them are being trained at Russia's Yuri Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center. One of them is also expected to receive training from NASA, so that if there is something new to learn, we can learn from other places as well. That is the entire idea. Again, this project has seen multiple delays in the past. It won't be surprising if it gets delayed even in the future once again, but this is the expected timeline for now. The next news is about a Kerr black hole, that is a rotating black hole. So there are different types of black holes. One of them is actually rotating black hole, and because it rotates, it has certain different characteristics as compared to the other black hole. Let's see which one. This particular black hole where the study has taken place is called the Kerr black hole. It is named after the New Zealand mathematician Roy Kerr, who gave the solution for where exactly would this black hole be found, about the exact location of this. Theoretically, it was predicted that the black hole that rotates at a constant speed is based on the theory of massive high spin particles. Those are rotating black holes. Again, these are black holes that are rotating at a constant rate, not increasing, not decreasing. The non-rotating black holes are different. Rotating black holes, on the other hand, have 2 event horizons. Number 1, the inner event horizon, and number 2, the outer event horizon. There are 2 important regions in these black holes. The ergosphere, which is outside the event horizon, where the rotation of space-time is strong enough to drag along objects, including light. The entire idea of black hole is that their gravitational pull is so strong that even the light cannot escape. Second important region is the ring singularity. This is a theoretical point of infinite density at the center of the black hole, where all the matter is attracted and it gets crushed in the middle. These are the important differences between rotating and non-rotating black holes. Do remember, rotating black holes are called the Kerr black holes. Non-rotating are known by a different name, that is Schwarzschild. Rotating black holes obviously have an angular momentum, non-rotating ones do not. Rotating black holes have their own ergosphere, the other ones do not. Rotating ones, at the center of them, they have a ring-shaped singularity rather than a point. For the non-rotating one, they have a point singularity. These are the important differences between how the black holes are, the rotating ones and the non-rotating ones. Next is Mission Pushpak. So ISRO successfully conducted an operation of reusable launch vehicle called Pushpak. RLV is reusable launch vehicle. As you know, when satellites are sent to space, they are attached to rockets. So when they go up, after giving the important thrust, the rocket is actually then basically goes back, it's fallen into the ocean, and satellite basically goes up on its way. These rockets that fall into the sea, into the ocean, they are usually non-reusable. So every single time in every single new mission, you have to prepare a new rocket. But space agencies around the world like NASA, ISRO, SpaceX, etc. have been working on renewable launch vehicles, so that when the rocket has sent the satellite, the rocket should come back, it should land softly so that it can be reused again. It will drastically reduce the cost of these space missions, because a large part of the cost is about the launch vehicles, because it is used only once. ISRO has done a successful test, and this launch vehicle is known as Pushpak. Pushpak landed back on the surface after getting released from 4.5 kilometer altitude. Now, when these rockets launchers have to land back properly, means they are shaped like an airplane. I'll just show you a photo also. This is the photo. So this is Pushpak. So they are basically shaped like an airplane, so that they have the capability to come and launch and basically land back like a plane. This is slightly different from usual rocket launchers that you see in ISRO, etc. This is again named as Pushpak, and it has successfully been tested. It is again extremely challenging, but in order to reduce the cost of future space missions, this kind of technology is important. SpaceX, NASA, both of them have been working towards it. ISRO has conducted this first experiment. It was demonstrated in 2023. It focused on ensuring that they can autonomously ensure that this launch vehicle can launch on its own. The second mission from RLV was from a even higher altitude and greater distance, but it was also successful. So we have done multiple such tests in the past, and ISRO has been able to be successful both the times. Next news, International Space Station has completed 25 years of its operations, and that is why it is important to understand. It's an example of the most successful collaboration of countries coming together in the field of space exploration. It's a joint collaboration of multiple countries bringing in their expertise, pooling in different resources and different components, and building an international space station, so that when astronauts go to space, they can stay in this particular space station. It has completed 25 years. It's situated in the low Earth orbit. It's about 420 kilometers from the Earth's surface. That's in height. It has an important research facility. It's a living space for astronauts, cosmonauts from different countries. They can go and they can live. Again, it was a joint collaboration of multiple countries together. Started in 1998 with the Zarya module. That Zarya means sunlight. That was launched by Russia from Kazakhstan. This module has served as an important component of this International Space Station. The major agencies involved in this project are NASA, obviously, ESA, Russia's Roscosmos, JAXA from Japan, and the Canadian Space Agency. So neither China nor India have participated in this entire idea of International Space Station. There are talks that we should have a new advanced space station. Countries are talking about it. If that happens, India would collaborate, but the existing ones, India does not have any stake in that. Its future operation is uncertain, because ever since the Ukraine-Russia war started, Russia has not been very supportive of it. Russia says that we would not be collaborating with the other countries in this space station now. Russia left this space station to build its own space station, while US and Europe will continue to run this one till 2030. On the other hand, European Space Agency, Airbus and Voyager Space again is a private company, they have signed an agreement to launch another commercial space station in 2027. So very soon in the coming years, we might see multiple such space stations and not just the one. The existing space station is quite large, and it is about the size of the body of a proper Boeing 747 aircraft. It has labs, living quarters, docking ports, etc. It moves, obviously, it travels at 8 km per second. It orbits the Earth every 90 minutes. So in 24 hours, it will orbit the Earth about 16 times. Usually when the missions go, they will typically live there for 6 months, but not necessary. It can be shorter and it can be longer duration stay as well. An international crew has been going there. There have been collaborations, as I said, with multiple countries. So, for example, let's say there is a astronaut of America who is living there. Just to send him back, America might not be sending their own aircraft, but maybe let's say Canada or European countries, let's say they are sending something to space, they can bring back that American astronaut. That is how the international collaboration works. So this is how international collaboration is, that if something wrong is happening or there are some supplies that are needed to be sent to International Space Station, whichever country is sending their own supplier, whichever country is sending their own mission in the nearby dates, they will be collaborating with each other and sending whatever is the requirement for the International Space Station. Next news about Mercury. Plasma waves have been detected on Mercury. These are also called as singing plasma waves. What exactly is the significance of this? The significance is that plasma waves mainly are an indication of the magnetic field energy. They are identified as short-term scale fluctuations in electric and magnetic field. And scientists earlier thought that Mercury would have a very, very weak magnetic field, but that has turned out to be false. It has been found out that Mercury also has a significant magnetic field. These plasma waves play an important role in energization and transport of the charged particles from the Earth's magnetosphere. As I told you earlier, Mercury was earlier supposed to have a weak magnetic field, but now that has turned out to be false. Now it is now believed to have a very strong magnetic field. Do remember that. It's an interesting discovery, because earlier it was thought that plasma waves would not be seen in Mercury, but now we see plasma waves in multiple planets, not just Mercury, but in Mars as well, which are usually considered to be unmagnetized planets. Now, these plasma waves are usually like electromagnetic ion waves. They act like a cleaning agent for Earth's radiation belt. So, in the radiation belt of the Earth, they can destroy certain other objects, and that is why it may be dangerous for our satellites in the long run. There is no one way to deal with it, but again, whenever the satellites are sent, they are usually sent after getting all these predictions about all these waves and what can happen to these satellites in the long run. There have been multiple missions sent to study Mercury. First one was by NASA in 1973 called Mariner 10. Second one in 2004 called Messenger. And third one was by Europe and Japan in 2018 called Bepi Colombo. So these are different missions that have been sent to Mercury from time to time. Next, news number 358. Sophia, a mission by NASA, has detected for the first time ever water on 2 asteroids. Sophia stands for Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. They have discovered water for the first time on some asteroids using this particular project. So these asteroids have not been named, but the news is that there are 2 asteroids where this particular Sophia mission has found water molecules. This mission is now over. It stands, as I said, for Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. It was mounted on a Boeing 747 SP aircraft, a joint collaboration between NASA and German Space Agency, looking into these asteroids to study their history, their formation, what are the different components with which they are made. Sophia's purpose was to study infrared light emitted by the celestial objects in the space. For that purpose, it had a 2.7 meter telescope and a 20-ton mirror. It's mainly for observing infrared wavelength. Now, these kind of facts are important. We discussed earlier also some missions are usually focused on X-ray emissions. Then some missions usually focus on infrared emissions. These are important facts for the prelims examinations. UPSC may ask you which of these projects focuses mainly on infrared emissions and its source, or which of the missions focus on X-ray radiation and its source. So do remember those tiny bits of details as well. There have been multiple advantages of making these observations from the space, from the atmosphere rather than from the surface. For example, this Sophia mission was flying with an aircraft at an altitude where usually commercial flights fly, 38,000 to 48,000 feet. So it soared above 99% of Earth's own infrared blocking atmosphere. Because if you are trying to observe infrared, you would have to go up to at least certain height where Earth's own infrared radiations are not blocking your way. Sophia has been mobile. It has worked in 10-hour flights. It has allowed the researchers to observe various events. The flights usually are in the time of sunrise, which ensures maximum darkness. The flights of Sophia mission were usually planned before the sunrise so that there was maximum darkness, and it was important to gather as much infrared radiations as possible. This again has played an important role in observing a lot of events, most importantly being the observation of water molecules on certain asteroids. This Sophia Sophia project had ended in 2022. It was operational for about 12 years by NASA. Next, another important news called Callisto. What exactly is Callisto? So basically, scientists have found out about the presence of ozone on the Jupiter's moon called Callisto. So Jupiter, as you know, is one of those planets that has multiple moons. So unlike Earth, many planets have multiple moons. Jupiter has some of the biggest moons, some of the largest moons in the universe. Studying one of its moons called Callisto, scientists have found out that there is a presence of ozone in this atmosphere of Callisto. These scientists, including from India, have made this important discovery. Callisto, as I said, is one of the largest moons of Jupiter. It is the third largest moon in the entire solar system. The largest moon being Ganymede and the second largest moon being Titan. Your homework is, tell me in the comment section, Ganymede is in which planet, it is a moon of which planet, and then Titan is a moon of which planet. Again, you have to tell me to which planet do they belong. Ganymede is the largest moon of our entire solar system, Titan being the second largest one, and Callisto is now the third largest one. And it is in Callisto that scientists have rather found presence of ozone. Do tell me in the comment section the planets where these two moons exist. Callisto specifically is composed of water ice, rocky material, sulfur dioxide, and organic material, etc. It has a potential of supporting life in the solar system. See, the entire objective of studying all these far-off celestial objects is to see where exactly can human life sustain, where exactly can animal life sustain. So if they found certain conditions where animal life can sustain, having ozone layer, for example, is a very important component of it. Having ozone layer would protect you against harmful UV radiations, means it is a candidate wherein you might see or you might have possible human life support. The surface is heavily cratered. It has a long history of being struck by asteroid. Cratered means big holes, large holes. You see that when the surface is basically beaten up or it gets impacted time and time again by asteroids, comets, etc. So that is why it's slightly dangerous. You can't have human life where asteroids are coming in and hitting 10 a day or hundreds a day. That becomes extremely dangerous. Last news for this session is discovery of a new antibiotic that is called Zosurobalpin. This is an antibiotic that may be helpful for patients which carry the problem of drug-resistant bacterium. As you know, antimicrobial resistance has become a very, very big problem, and the scientists are looking for higher order antibiotics for those patients on whom the normal antibiotics are not being able to show the results. This is where this new discovery becomes important. Remember the name. The name of the antibiotic is Zosurobalpin. It is found to be effective against CRAB, which induces pneumonia and sepsis in mouse models. Experiment has been successful when conducted on animals. Now, We will now go on to phase 2 trials and trials on human beings to see if it is suitable for human beings as well. If it is, it will be a big discovery because it takes many years before a new higher order antibiotic is developed. It is not something that is done every single year. So this discovery can be a huge breakthrough, especially for those who are suffering from antimicrobial resistance. It is designed specifically, as I said, to combat CRAB, which is a multi-drug resistant bacterium and has a major threat on our healthcare system. This new drug will disrupt the process of building bacteria's outer membrane. Thus, the bacteria will be vulnerable and antibiotics will be able to work on it properly and destroy it before it causes damage to the body. This was our session for the day. We have one or rather two more sessions for science and tech, and then we'll jump on to the remaining portions. I hope this series has been helpful. If yes, do like this video and do hit the subscribe button as well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Take care. Jai Hind.